In this course, we're going to start OP with Java. So we're going to start OP with Java, you can see. So under the OP, I have classified different topic, and as you can see here in the chapter first, here we have classes and objects, and then encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and like this we do have many topics here. We will be covering all those topics one by one. Now in this lecture today, let's start from the classes and the objects. Okay, under this section we will be knowing what is class and how to create the object for the class, and about the constructor, what are they, what do you mean by constructor, and what are the types of the constructor. And very important, we will be knowing about this keyword, the very special keyword in Java. And here we will be knowing about the instance versus static members of the class. So let's begin. Okay, let's start from the chapter first, which is class and the object. So what is class? So what is class? In the definition, everywhere you can find it on a class is the blueprint of the object, and object is the instance of the class. What does it mean? It means that for each and every work, right, that you are working or you are doing in the object oriented programming, you will be doing through the object. So what there is something, right, there is something which defines what the object should look like, or what the object are actually containing. That is the class. Okay, that is class. So please focus on my words. Each and every word that I will be delivering here are very really important and such a filtered words. Okay, so you don't need to like know anything more than this. So what is class? A class is the blueprint of the object. It means that whenever we create the object, there will be in the real world program, there will be have the multiple, there are thousands and the millions of the class within a program. So and there will be the millions of the objects. So each and every object will be associated with the class. So what does it mean? It means that the class defines what the object should look like. Okay, so that is class. So then what a class can hold, or what you can write inside the class. So I will be showing with the program to create the object, I mean class and object. Don't worry now, let us focus on this theory part so that it will be easier for us to write the code. So a class, so how to define a class? So there is a very fixed rule, right, how to define a class. So with the keyword class, and what is the name of the class? Here is the car. So what does that public means? We will be knowing about this later, about the when we will talk about access modifier. But for now, just consider is the here is the keyword public. So here is the public and the keyword class, and whatever the name you want to give to the class. Here in this example we are giving car. Car is the name of the class. Okay, very straightforward. And what can we write inside the class? So this is the block of the, here you can see the curly brass, and here next. So whatever inside those curly braces is inside the class, right? So what you can write inside the class? Inside the class there can be field, there can be methods, and there can be extra one more thing, and there can be a block. So let's not now for now focus about the block. So you can write whatever the code inside the block. So now you can see here we can write the fields and the methods only inside the class. So you cannot write any other statement, something like printf. You cannot print something here. No, you cannot write the code like that here. So only the things, right, what you can include here is the field and the methods, right? And here in the example we do have the field color, which is of type string, and the speed, and here we do have the method, like that. So that is all about the class. Okay, so let us make the class in the code. So let's go here. I already have written car, and now write the string color and int speed. Okay, so we have now successfully created the class, right? So now what you can do with class? Nothing, literally nothing we can do only with class. So we have to make the object, right? So we can work with those color, those fields and the methods. Now creating the object. So how to create the object? uh, as you can see here, an object is an instance of the class, and it is created with new keyword followed by constructor, so we need to have a constructor to create the object. Okay, So then what is constructor then? So before creating an object, we need to know about the constructor. So you can see here, constructor are used to create the object. Okay, so what are the constructor? Think constructor as like methods, okay, which don't have any return type, not even void. And the name of the method is exactly same as the name of the class. Okay, got it? They have return type, not even, they don't have any return type, not even void. Okay, so we need to have a constructor, right, to create the object. So let's make the constructor. They don't have any return type, not even void, so you cannot write void also here. So simply, and their name is exactly same as the name of the class, so car. Okay, now we have created the constructor. Now let's create the object. Is created, object is created with the help of like new keyword, right, followed by constructor, which is car. Okay, and earlier we said that constructor don't return any type, anything, not even void. That is explicitly okay. The sentence is partially correct, so that I have mentioned here. Explicit, they don't have any return type, not even void explicitly, but implicitly they do return something. What they return is actually the object of the class. That is the reason why I use a constructor to create the object. So they are returning something. They are returning object. Actually, they are returning the reference to the object, but for simplicity, we say object. So they are returning the object. So let's say they are returning the object. So object, okay, of type car, of type class, which is car. Okay, got it. So now we have successfully created the object, right? With the help of new keyword followed it by the constructor. And what is constructor? Here you can see the constructor, which don't have any return type explicitly, but implicitly it is actually returning the object of class type. Okay, that is the thing. So we got about the constructor, and now we can easily create the object. Got it. Now let's focus on the types of the constructor. So what are the types of the constructor? You can see types of the constructor are default constructor, parameterized constructor, and copy constructor. So let's focus what is default constructor. You can see here this is default constructor. Why? Because it don't have any parameter. If I write here int speed or anything, right, int speed, then this is parameterized. Why? Because it do have some parameter, right? Here speed is the parameter, so it is parameterized constructor. So we got about the default. So if I remove this parameter from here, now it is now default constructor. So we got about default constructor, also the parameterized constructor, and now copy constructor. What is copy constructor? Copy constructor is also a parameterized constructor. Why? Because it do have the parameter, but the parameter is of a specific type. The type of the parameter is of the class itself, right? Car obj. Here this is the object is the parameter of type car, which is the name of the class. Therefore it is called as parameterized, I mean copy constructor, right? So that is the thing. For now, let's use the default constructor. And now in the default constructor you can see here, so very important point, pro like default constructor is provided by Java if none is defined. Oh, if none of the constructor is defined here, if I don't mention it here, right, then Java will automatically provide it here. And this, we can still use this constructor here. We don't have like, okay, here is the default constructor. Okay, you can see here is the default constructor, and I use this default constructor to create the object. Okay, if I remove this, then Java will still provide us default constructor implicitly in case you don't provide it. Okay, and the question arises is, and is this that only the default constructor used to create the object? No, not necessarily. You can see here, if I use here something like int speed, now you can also use here int like you can pass the speed here, right, something like, okay, now still it is fine. It is not necessary to use, like we should only use default constructor. No, not, we can use parameterized constructor also, or copy constructor used to create the object. For now, let's create the default constructor, which is provided by Java. Why? Because we are not mentioning here any default constructor. So okay, that's fine. We learn about the constructor, we know learn about the classes, we learn about how to create the object. Now let's focus on very important topic. So here in the example I have written, give the example of default constructor. This is default constructor. Why? Because nowhere I am mentioning the the parameters, and this is parameterized constructor, and this is copy constructor of type char. You can see here the parameter. Okay, now let's focus on the this keyword, very important and very confusing topic for beginners. So what is this keyword and why it is used in Java? Like why it is even used here? So what types of problem we are actually solving with this keyword? This is very important, guys. So this keyword you can focus here. This keyword represent to the current object you are working with. Oh, this keyword, this represent the object. Okay, which object? The object you are actually currently working with. What is the object that is I am currently working with? How to know? Okay, here's the thing. So let's say here we have the void uh print function. Let's say print or any function. Okay, so how I like I'm calling this print function with the help of the object that I have created here, obj dot print. Okay, so I'm calling the print function for this object, right? I mean, I'm calling this print function, this method, with this object, this obj object. So this obj is the current object for us. So suppose we have another object which is obj, let's say car2, car2. Okay, okay, and now I'm calling this print function with the help of car2, with car2 object. So for now, the time the print function is executing with this call, then car2 is the current object. Okay, in this case, in the both here I'm calling print with obj dot print, and in the case I'm in this now I'm calling with car2 dot print. Okay, in both the cases print function is being called, right? So the time the print function is being executed with this call, with this obj dot print, then obj is the current object, right? And if I execute this print function, this print method with the help of car2.print, then now car2 is the current object. So this keyword will always represent the current object. Okay, so very important. Now what you can do with this keyword is, look at here. So if I want to on the time, so if I want to, let's say we do have a parameterized constructor here, car int, let's say string caller and int speed. Okay, and now I want to initialize this caller and speed for car this object, and let's say car1 for this car1 and car1 and for car2. So how can I do that? So I can do actually with the help of this keyword. Very tricky. Look at here, how can I do? So this keyword will always represent the current object, right? So the time now I'm just creating the like object with the help of constructor. No print is here, constructor, right? So with this statement, the constructor is being called, isn't it? Okay, this constructor is being called. We need to pass speed here. Speed, let's say 100. Caller first, red, and speed is, let's say 100, and here color is black. Okay, and the speed is, let's say 80. Now with this statement we are calling constructor. You know, we are actually creating the object, and at the time of the creation of the object, constructor is called. That means this constructor is being called. Okay, now when this constructor is called, this with the help of this statement, the constructor is being called. Now at this point, this will represent car1, isn't it? At this point this will represent car1, and now when I'm calling this constructor with this statement car2, at this point car2, this will represent to car2. Okay, so with this statement, this represent to car1. So if I want to instantiate, I mean initialize the caller and the speed for car1, I can write this dot caller is equals to caller. Okay, this dot caller represent this caller for car1. And now again, this the and when this statement is being executing, this dot caller will represent to this caller for car2. That is the thing. That is the thing, guys. This will represent car2. Okay, so and this dot speed is equals to speed, right? Now same thing. Okay, wait, that is the thing. That is the use of this. And what are the and there are other uses of this also. So this represents the current object being executed, so we can actually return the current object from this, something like this. So if we want to return, so get here is something method like get object, right? Get object, so we can return the current object. Re Return this. Now if I call this get object with the help of method, right? If I call this get object method with the help of car2, let's say car2 dot get object. Now this method is being executing with the help of car2 object, so it will return car2 object. Now if I write car1 dot car1 dot get object, now this will return me car1. Why? Because this is actually being executing with the help of car1, so this will represent this will represent car1, so this will return car1. That is the thing. So okay, so we use, so uses of this keyword. So avoiding naming conflict. Why? How? Because look here, here also we are using caller, here also we are using caller. So this dot caller will always represent this caller, and now simply this caller will represent this caller, so we are using it for naming conflict avoidation. Okay, and also here returning current object from the method. Okay, as you can see, returning current object from this is the method, and we can actually returning the current object from the method. And the next thing is calling one constructor from another constructor, something like this. So if we have multiple constructor, like this is the parameterized constructor, we can have another parameterized constructor, many constructor we can have there. So one constructor can be called from other using this keyword, something like this. This is equivalent to new car black. That's the thing. And application, what are the application, what is the benefit of you like what is the benefit of returning uh, the current object from this, or something like this. Okay, so calling all the constructor. Okay, all the constructor can be called at the same time. Chaining, so you can actually chain. We can use some expression like set name dot set age dot set address, because set name is actually returning this the object, and for the same object we are using set age, and the set age is again returning the same object, and for that object we are using